One of the main purposes of any law enforcement agency is to provide a sense of security and trust to us as citizens. However, that is undermined when certain acts such as arbitrary arrest and forced confessions prevail in our country. Such acts have happened in India, and through this talk, I, Yashraj Sharma of the Shri Ram School, Aravali, intend to shed light onto the prevalence of these topics and show how these impact us as members of society. Now, coming to what arbitrary arrest is. Arbitrary arrest has been common in India and has internationally been recognized as a human rights violation. It is the act when an individual is put in jail without any evidence to support that he or she were the one to commit the crime. A lot of international human rights organizations such as Amnesty and the Human Rights Watch have alleged that Indian law enforcement agencies have many times been guilty of these acts. However, what we must understand is that these law enforcement agencies are merely resorting to arbitrary arrest and forced confessions for the simple reason that they are overworked and under pressure by various factors, which I shall enumerate in the later part of my speech. Now, what we must also note is that those who are arbitrarily arrested might not be the ones to actually commit the crime. The National Human Rights Commission, in a report, stated that 75% of the Indian prisoners or the prisoners in Indian jails had not been logged for a trial. Through this number, we can clearly see the enormous amount of people who might even be innocent yet are in jail. Now, coming to forced confessions. Now, forced confessions have been a way for the law enforcement to show that they have solved a case by forcing or coercing suspects into either confessing to a crime which they might not have committed, or to accuse another person of having committed a crime and to act as an eyewitness. Now, most notably seen in the recent Ryan murder case, a bus conductor was allegedly forced and beaten into confessing to a grave crime which he did not commit. We have found this out after the recent CBI investigation was conducted. Now, various cases of forced confessions have been prevalent in India, and through this talk, I shall also enumerate the various factors why as to such acts exist. Now, we have established that forced confessions do exist in India, but why? The main factors are yet to be determined. Now, firstly, we must recognize that the Indian law enforcement agencies are not the ones to be blamed. The Indian law enforcement agencies, as I said earlier, ladies and gentlemen, have been resorting to arbitrary arrest and forced confessions for the simple reason that they are overpressured and overworked and under pressure by various factors. Our police force is probably the most overworked force in the world. We have only 106 police officers for 1 lakh citizens of our country, which is the 5th lowest ratio in the world. An increase in crime rates has been seen in India, and along with a relatively smaller force, is clearly the reason why our police officers are overworked and under pressure with new cases every day. Our police officers face a tremendous amount of pressure from victims, families, and the media to close cases as soon as possible. It should also be noted that various high-ranking police commissioners have stated that their police forces have been overworked and under pressure by various factors and are even underpaid. Now, once we've established these factors, what we must do is solve them. And to provide some solutions, I would like to say just 2 things. One, we must increase our police force. With an increase in police force, it's clear that the work will be shared amongst the new police members that have come, and the workload on all police officers will clearly be reduced. Another recommendation that I would like to suggest is simple. We must undertake certain measures within our judicial system and law enforcement systems, and we must incorporate the solutions provided by international human rights organizations. Now, why? These human rights organizations work with countries to prevent further human rights violations, and taking into consideration their great solutions will certainly prevent such acts to prevail further. Now, such acts clearly undermine the sense of security and trust we, as citizens of India, instill in our law enforcement agencies. And this causes many problems in society, as we have seen. Now, I would like to end by saying that the law enforcement agencies are that body that is supposed to mete out justice to those who are truly guilty and to hold those responsible who are truly guilty. And with this, I would like to end my talk saying that I, as a student growing up in society, truly believe that one, we must determine the factors, and two, solve the problems by the solutions I have mentioned. Thank you.